Now you may think, okay, well, that's a once in a lifetime kind of experience, but that kind of a diamond mine discovery doesn't just drop in at everybody's feet. It doesn't drop at anyone's feet. Well, okay, maybe you're not literally digging up the Golconda pink diamond in the backyard over there by the doghouse, but I would still venture to bet that you're overlooking many assets already right here in your sphere. Hi, my friends. I'm Diane Armitage. Welcome back to the Catalyst Code, where we crack the internal code that creates the external result. I'm your host, and after 27 years as Bob Proctor's writing partner and protege, I've been helping people all over the world step into their greatness, their better in their world, whatever that better might be. Each week, Catalyst Code teaches you how to activate momentum, rewire your mind, and create results that stick. You're the catalyst. This is the code. So let's go. So I was thinking the other day, what makes a leader a leader? And what makes a leader a legendary leader? And are you thinking of yourself as one of those legendary leaders? It doesn't matter what you're doing out there. Are you being a leader in your own life? Maybe legendary leader is too big to leap to right now. So let's put another word on it. How about, well, most of the people who find their way to me, they're mavericks. Now, you might not have felt that in your bones either until this point, and you might never have called yourself a maverick, but you're going to be feeling it in full magnificent color the longer you hang out with me in the Catalyst Code. Now, you may be coming from different aspects of business and different aspects of your life. You may be organizing your next move into the business that you really want to be doing. You may be considering something in your life that seems out of reach. You may have been entrenched in the business you're doing for 1 or 3 or 5 or 25 years, and you may be trying to figure out how to help your clients in the best way possible. You may be a CEO or a department head or the sales director of a big organization, and you're searching for tools that you can share with your team to get through what everyone out there is saying, to borrow from Game of Thrones, winter is coming. And this is why I call you a maverick, because what's out there can look like a big threat. Chaos, change, total uncertainty looming at your doorstep. The rules of the business game have changed because change is no longer occurring in a slow, predictable manner. Now, these last few weeks, I've been rewatching the Mission Impossible movies with Tom Cruise because this one coming up, Final Reckoning, is the last one, the finale, the final. Well, they say they may be making more, but for the moment, this is the tentpole summer movie to probably end all summer tentpole movies. And it stands to create even more billions to the 4.1 billion that this particular movie franchise has already racked up. And I got to thinking of yet another movie, one of his franchise movies, Top Gun, and the long-awaited Maverick movie that followed up finally in, I think it was 2023. Now, Tom Cruise's characters, they have a way of doing the impossible. That's why he's Ethan Hunt. That's why he's Maverick. And I'm calling you a maverick because it's time to open your mind to what everyone else is saying cannot be done. Now, the biggest moment I remember from the Maverick movie was when his team of seasoned younger pilots told him that a certain course could not be taken. They would all die in the process. They didn't have the equipment. They didn't have the tools in these multi-million-dollar planes to achieve what he was asking them to do. And just as they were all about to get group consensus, which is always the most dangerous way to go when it comes to killing off a great new idea or goal, group consensus, that this mission needed to be aborted, Maverick, Tom Cruise, got in his plane and flew the path to prove it could be done. Now, in this movie, he was a legendary leader. The key to winning today lies in seeing the very same pivotal opportunities in your own business, your own career, your big goals, and then seizing them, flying them, knowing that they're already done deals, proven statistically already done. Hesitation, uncertainty, group consensus in the wrong direction, it can crash and burn your forward momentum, right? Now, in this episode of Catalyst Code, I want to give you a couple easy shifts that you can make in your thinking and actions that change your trajectory. Legendary leader for good. And I'm also going to share the biggest elementary secret that is the absolute foundational key to forever switching your life from ordinary to extraordinary. It doesn't matter if it's a business, it doesn't matter if it's personal. This isn't a top secret kind of secret, but it's just so uncommonly recognized and practiced, this really normal thing, that less than 3% of all the people on this planet ever even know that they have every ability and right to pick up this key and unlock their own success kingdom. So what does your success kingdom look like? You know, it's there. It's in that head of yours, even if you haven't given it much space or oxygen because it doesn't seem realistic. Because let's be realistic is not how legendary leaders fly. Now, I've gotten to work with a lot of legendary leaders. Didn't matter if it was Bob Proctor or the Chicken Soup for the Soul guys or real estate franchise company owners and founders or giant e-commerce company. It doesn't matter the industry or the business. Legendary leaders all have this one thing in common. They just all want to help people get to better, help them improve and change their lives in some way. That's what it's all about. What legendary leaders do, it's not rocket science. They're not some kind of gods or goddesses that are out there out of reach. You've got every aspect of the same in you right now. I mean, let's look at this thing. People who find their way to legendary status just know that there are untapped opportunities everywhere. Somewhere along their life's path, they choose to form an assumption about life and their interaction with it. Opportunities are everywhere. And that assumption is different than most people's assumptions. Just yesterday, I was meeting with a new client's team, and they were talking about the founder of the company. And they said, oh, yeah, he's an insatiable optimist. Okay, well, he's an insatiable multimillionaire optimist. Something somewhere in that potion is working. There are hundreds of speakers and teachers down through the ages who insist that a positive attitude will change everything in your life. It will create the success you seek, no matter what you seek. And well, it's true, but it's not just about having a positive attitude. I mean, you hear that all the time from all kinds of speakers and authors. The secret to the attitude is the vibrational feeling behind it. I mean, saying you have a positive attitude, that's one thing. Assuming that life is going to simply go your way and living from that space of expectation of everything going your way, that is an entirely different kind of positive attitude. You see, it's that vibrational feeling tone that changes everything. Like way back in, I think it was 1959, there was this radio show host by the name of Earl Nightingale, and he produced this legendary program. It seriously was legendary, called Lead the Field. Now, he initially produced it on a series of record albums, and they all came in all these different sleeves because he didn't have online courses back in 1959. I mean, talk about a game changer program. That one program shifted the entire world. It was seismic. And he started the entire program with his first lesson, chapter 1, on attitude. Now, back in 1959, you didn't talk about woo-woo stuff like vibration and feeling tone behind your thought. So he has all these great lines that couch that very thing. It's like secret clues. Because even back in 1959, Earl knew that a positive attitude wasn't just a thinking thing. I'm going to be more positive today. I'm going to be more positive today. I'm going to win friends and influence people. I studied this program so extensively that Bob Proctor told audiences that he thinks I knew it better than he did, which was quite the statement because Bob built his entire sales training career on Earl Nightingale's Lead the Field. And in fact, I helped him create an amalgamated version, a larger version, the new Lead the Field, with Bob in the year 2000. We published it in the year 2000. And that was actually the lesson I studied repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly until it was pretty much tattered shreds. Now, I've taught it in my legendary courses. I'll probably teach it again soon. But getting back to Earl, knowing that a positive attitude isn't just about thinking you're going to be more positive thinking. I remember memorizing this from the first chapter. He said, attitude is our position or bearing as indicating action, feeling, or mood. And it is our action, feeling, and mood that determines the action, feeling, or mood of others toward us. Did you get all those secret code words? You know what he's talking about here. Your energetic vibration creating a ripple effect in others. He's talking about the law of vibration, the law of attraction, all in that one sentence, all sort of tucked in like little secret code words. So he says, it is our action, feeling, and mood that determines the action, feeling, or mood of others toward us, and which control, to a surprising extent, our success or our failure. It is our attitude toward life which will determine life's attitude toward us. Huh. That is so law of attraction. So to the outside world, this may seem all about that generic word attitude. And in a generic sense, you've heard about having a better attitude from everyone from Socrates to Jesus to Norman Vincent Peale to my dear client, Les Brown. I love it when he says on stage, when life knocks you down, land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up, land on your back, and the crowd goes wild, right? Everybody loves Les Brown. But you see, attitude is really all about the vibration you're in. And that understanding of your vibration is absolutely foundational to every single success you begin to create for yourself. When you assume that everything is going your way, you're not just thinking it, you're feeling it. This assumption places you in an entirely different vibration than just thinking about being positive. Now, legendary leaders, they have an assumption that everything is going their way. They approach life as if it's going to reveal more, greater rewards, and it rarely disappoints them. They know that there are hidden assets everywhere in their lives, in their businesses, with other people that will propel them forward. All they need to do is keep an eye out for those hidden assets, those untapped opportunities. They see a better world, a world of opportunity all around them. They are insatiably creatively minded. And sometimes that can make other people absolutely crazy, you know, because why? Because everything seems to go their way. So what's the difference between them and most people who don't seem to think everything is going their way? Well, sometimes we get so caught up in the what is. We look out into the world with our senses. We look out into the world and we see the experience around us. That's what I call living through our senses. We get so caught up in what we see and what we hear and what we touch that we lose sight of everything we have right here in our wonderful wheelhouse. Everything we have right here in our own special gifts and talents to change all of that out there. Everything we need is right here at our feet. Now, it was in Lead the Field that I first learned this story. So back in the late 1800s, the diamond rush was on in several countries, southern India included. And there was a farmer there in southern India by the name of Ali Hafed, who got caught up in the diamond mine craze. He got so caught up, in fact, that he decided to sell his farm, bought all of the proper mining equipment, and he set out in search of these diamonds to make his fortune. And as the story goes, he didn't find a single diamond. And in fact, at the height of despair, he threw himself off of a bridge. Meanwhile, the man who had purchased Ali's farm led his camel one day to the brook that was crossing the property so that his camel could get a drink of water. And as the camel was nosing around, the guy noticed this odd-looking black rock in the stream. Now, initially, he thought it was such a cool-looking black, murky rock that he put it on his mantle in his house above his fireplace. And at one point, a priest who was coming by to visit and chat with him noticed the rock on the mantle and told him what it really was. And as you can guess, it was a very large diamond. Not only a diamond, but the discovery of the most magnificent diamond mine in the history of mankind. I mean, until just a few years ago, the Golconda diamond mine was still one of the three largest producing diamond mines in the world. It's produced behemoth diamonds, including the Hope diamond that James Cameron's Titanic movie was built around. Remember that? The diamond of the sea, the heart of the ocean. And it's produced a number of famous diamonds that became part of royal collections and crowns. You see, Ali Hafed really didn't know what a diamond in the rough looked like. He didn't understand what the opportunity looked like. If he had just done his research, he would have found these very diamonds right under his feet. And here's where one of the first pitfalls occurs with most people. They rush pell-mell into something that's going to make them more money over there. And they wind up empty-handed and sometimes very broke. Now you may think, okay, well, that's a once in a lifetime kind of experience, but that kind of a diamond mine discovery doesn't just drop in at everybody's feet. It doesn't drop at anyone's feet. Well, okay, maybe you're not literally digging up the Golconda pink diamond in the backyard over there by the doghouse, but I would still venture to bet that you're overlooking many assets already right here in your sphere. This is where legendary leaders differentiate themselves. They've got the miner's pick and they've got the big miner's hat with a big flashlight thing in play every single day. They know their own acres of diamonds are well within reach, and as a result, assumptive, it shows up accordingly. A diamond in the rough is simply an opportunity for you to step in and create a better solution. I love Richard Branson. He wrote a great autobiography in 1998 called Losing My Virginity. Now, Richard Branson's philosophy can basically be broken down to 5 words. Screw it, let's do it. This guy is the only one I ever talk about who repeatedly just walks off a cliff. It's like a daily routine. It's his daily ritual. I mean, from the airline business, Atlantic Airways, to music, Virgin Records, V2, to cola, Virgin Cola, to retail, Virgin Megastores, and nearly 100 businesses, he's known for just jumping because he wants to make it a better experience for people. Now, when Richard Branson started his first business with a few of his buddies, they decided that since they were complete virgins at business, they were just going to call the business Virgin. Since then, Branson has written his own rules for success. Clearly, a global presence, no central headquarters, no management hierarchy. Many of his companies were started as Davids against Goliaths, the entrenched, formidable businesses. Now, I'm quite sure that if he had consulted with every erudite expert, anytime he had a new wild idea, they would come up with the same group consensus. Don't do it. But Branson found golden opportunities in markets where customers were being ripped off or underserved, where confusion reigned and the competition was complacent. I mean, talk about the miner's pick and the big miner's hat with the flashlight thing. And Branson just has this assumption that everything is going his way. He's one of the happiest people you can ever see out there. Branson approaches life as if it's going to reveal more and greater rewards, and it typically does, right? Now, you may have already jumped into the calling that you're in initially because you saw an underserved population of really good people who deserve better. You may be creating that giant software app that makes lives easier. You may be innovating solutions for people who feel like pipsqueaks, who've never allowed their spirit to grow. You may be helping people in situations they never imagined they would ever have to face. You may be helping other workplaces create a connection with their people, solutions and actions that just bring peace and ease. That's all better, right? I mean, this is exactly where Richard Branson birthed the idea of Virgin Airlines. He was sitting on a plane, trapped on a tarmac in the middle of a winter storm, and he was stuck there with everyone else in the plane for hours. Now, you've heard these stories before. You know, they taxi out, then they realize there's a problem or there's a storm, but they think it's going to be fixed soon. They think it's going to pass soon. And so they just leave you all sitting in the tube because they're sure they're going to be able to get on their way. Sometimes that doesn't necessarily happen. And I'll tell you, after hours of sitting in this plane, not being able to deplane and only eating peanuts, Richard Branson had had it. And he said, when I get off this plane, I am creating a different airline. Legendary leaders are known for saying to their troops or just to themselves, screw it, let's just do it. I mentioned one of my favorite songs in my very first episode of Catalyst Code, sung by Will Ferrell, no less, when he says, there's humanity to save. Can we really make a ripple with our feet up while we float, too afraid to rock the boat? If we never test the waters, we'll never know just how far the ripples go. I wasn't singing that in my big, huge singing voice, but you get it. This is where legendary leaders live. They're never putting their feet up to float. They're all about testing the waters to see how far the ripples can go, because there's humanity to save, right? Now that's some vibrational uplift that you've got to love. That goes beyond thinking about having a positive attitude. And this is where you can live. Remember what Earl Nightingale said, attitude is our action, feeling, and mood that determines the action, feeling, and mood of others toward us. Attitude is really all about the vibration you're in, your feeling tone. What you send out energetically comes right back to you in like form. What you're feeling about all the opportunities coming your way, they start showing up at your feet. Acres of diamonds at your feet. All it takes is a change in attitude. But now you know that the change in attitude is not a thinking thing. It is a feeling, assumptive, acting from, acting as if all of the opportunities are there. Everything is going your way. How would your life change if you began to simply assume that new opportunities are showing themselves every day? To simply assume that everything is going your way. How about you get out there and try it this week? That's it for today's Catalyst Code. Please like, kindly subscribe at my Diane Armitage YouTube channel, and please share this with friends who also need to be reminded you are the catalyst. Maverick, legendary leader, all wrapped up in one. I'll see you next week.